If you have a cell phone or a pager, you all know you're here, but other people don't know you're here. So please turn it off or set it to stun or do not disturb. Although Sandra likes to talk to people a lot, it's probably best not to have your phone ring during the service. Baruch Dayan HaEmet, we praise the Judge of Truth. We gather. It is a bit of a shock. And we begin with Psalm 121. Esa enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakaka v'yarech b'layla. Adonai shmarcha mikol ra yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai shmar tzeicha v'wecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. The Lord will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. He is your protection at your right hand. The sun shall not strike thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard your going out and will keep you from harm and will guard your soul. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in, now and forever. Death has taken our dear Sandra Goldstein. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Sandy's love that united so many people in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that was shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all of these and more, we give our thanks to God. It is a time of profound grief and sadness. And so we listen once again to the voice of our sacred scriptures. From Sefer Tehillim, from the book of Psalms. It brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. And let us recite the 23rd Psalm in English together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We have a few eulogies this morning, and we begin, of course, with her son, Todd.
Today we gather to honor the life of my mother, Sandra Goldstein. To many in this room, Sandy Sorry, can I start over?
Take as much time as you want.
Today we gather to honor the life of my mother, Sandra Goldstein. To many in this room, she was known as Sandy, or to my boy's grandma. A woman with remarkable resilience, a force to be reckoned with. Her death has left us with a mix of emotions and shock. For as long as I've known my mom, she always bounced back, which was a testament to her fighting spirit. She was a breast cancer survivor, and her later years had several health issues, but always rebounded with grit and determination. I thought with certainty my mom would live to be 100. I think we all did. So nobody would be surprised to hear that last week, when I arrived at the rehab facility on Thursday, she was ordering people around to get her ginger ale and to fix her palate. It's how she showed her love. What always struck me was the contrast between her petite frame, and if you knew my mom, she was really short. She was only 4'8". But her larger-than-life personality. She walked into a room, and you knew it. My mom loved talking to strangers. I mean anyone. It didn't matter who you were. She would ask people if you knew her dad's restaurant, the Theatrical. It was like a badge of honor if you did. Or if they knew people in her family. She would truly talk to any stranger about anything. She was fearless. As a kid, I would get so embarrassed. Honestly, we'd go to the mall on Saturday, and she would talk to everyone, people at the makeup counter, and I would just be so embarrassed. But that was her. But though I was embarrassed as a kid, I find as an adult, it's something I do now often. It's something she instilled in me, really just to talk to anyone. I mean, I do it all the time. My mom was an old soul who loved going to the beauty shop every Friday. She never missed it. I mean, she would literally miss, nothing would stop her from going to the beauty shop. She really believed her nails needed to be done, her hair needed to be done, and my dad and her would go out for dinner. She loved to knit. I mean, when I was a kid, I honest to God, I'd get up to go to school, she'd still be knitting. She'd be sitting in the chair right in front of the TV knitting. They had an old recliner. I don't know if they make them anymore. She was a very spirited dancer. So she had a chicken dance, and like this, and she'd shake her butt. I mean, if you were ever at the Bootstrap Bash, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah, I mean, she was the first person on the dance floor, and that butt was shaking. And she never turned down a glass of Dewar's. She loved Dewar's scotch, which I think she got from her dad. What about? While my mom's love was reserved, those moments of connection are all that more cherished. She really was not the mushy type and literally never said, I love you. I mean, she just was not one to say, I love you. She never really showed emotion. I mean, but you knew she loved you. I will never forget. I will never forget. I will never forget the last night I saw my mom. As I was leaving, I said, I love you. And she looked right back at me and said, I love you too. Her relationships were layered, yet her love for my dad, me, my wife Chelsea, our children, Henry, Grace, and Remy were steadfast, and really her whole family and her friends. She really loved everyone. My mom loved when the boys came over to play in the backyard, paint at the kitchen table, or sit next to her on the couch and watch TV. Honestly, one of my favorite pictures was we were driving home from somewhere and Grace wanted to go hang out with my mom, and they would sit on the couch and literally watch Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's just, she really loved her grandkids. She'd come out in her pajamas, she'd just have woken up, and she would be out in the backyard, and they would be trying to play baseball, and she'd be telling them what to do, and I don't think my mom ever played baseball. I mean, she'd be, she always had an opinion. She just wanted to tell everyone what to do. I mean, she wanted to be in control. She always made sure my dad had popsicles in the freezer and M&Ms in the fridge for the boys. And she really loved you, Dad. I know she didn't always show it, but she loved you in her own way. I think by her bossing her around is a way of showing she loved you. Honestly, I really do mean that. She just didn't know how to show it, but it's okay. Everyone shows love in their own way. It's probably the reason why I tell my family I love them all the time. Chelsea and I tell our boys we love them every night, probably 20 times a day. I tell my dad I love him all the time too. As we say goodbye, let us seek comfort in the memories she has left behind. Her departure leaves a legacy of strength and resilience that will endure within us. Rest in peace, Mom. May you find the Spirit. May your spirit find peace, and may the memories we hold bring us comfort and understanding of the profound impact you've made in our lives. Thank you guys all for coming. My mom would really, she's looking down on us. This is what she would want. She wouldn't want us to sit and cry. She'd want us to drink and have fun and shake our butts. Thank you guys.
And to those words spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. Her sister-in-law, Linda.
This morning, Todd called me and asked if I would say a few brief words. And here we are. So Sandra, or as Irv lovingly referred to as Sandy, was a unique and complicated individual. I have been a part of Sandra's life for over 53 years when I married her brother Jeffrey, and watched her life's progression and milestones. Her days before Irv, her beautiful marriage, the birth of her son, Todd's marriage to Chelsea, and the arrival of 3 amazing grandchildren. She loved them all. She was passionate about her relationships with those around her. Her family gave her meaning and purpose. I remember when Todd was born, the joy she experienced holding him for the first time. She always wanted the best for him, even when she struggled to navigate what that was. Sandra did beat to her own drum. When she wanted something or something done, it happened. I used to say she ran a tight ship. In the later years, when she became more vulnerable, a little more fragile, and her health started to affect her life, she still managed to travel, spend time with the people that mattered, and enjoyed time with family. She created memories with her grandchildren. There are so many memories. Her legacy will go on because they will hear your grandmother used to say. Her son feels blessed to have shared in recent years many fond moments with his mom. As he has said to me, time well spent. When someone you know becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Our sadness today is knowing we can no longer talk to her, see her, touch her. However, We will smile a little smile as we all in our own way recall memories of Sandra. And peace to her.
Amen to those words as well. Cindy Amato, dear friend.
For those of you who do not know me, I am Cindy, and I am responsible for the many fabulous looks of Sandra Goldstein. I met Sandy over 30 years ago through a mutual hairdresser friend of mine who is no longer with us today, and that is how I inherited Sandy as a client. Sandy was just not my favorite client, she was my friend. She had a standing appointment with me every Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. But she never failed to arrive fashionably late, usually around 2:20, sometimes even later, following behind Irv, walking in, apologizing on her behalf for her being so late. No matter how long she made me wait, Sandy wasn't sorry. Oh no, she was in no rush to leave. Her 30-minute blow-dry appointment always lasted a good 3 to 4 hours. She was always the last one to leave to close the salon on a Friday night. Sandy was never one to settle for the same look. Every week she would walk in late. She didn't care how long it would take or how she would put me behind, but she wanted a new change of color, try a new cut, style, and she actually would convince me, and I ended up doing it. Sandy was not only the life of the salon, she was the life of any party. The dancing queen who knew how to have a good time. She loved hitting the dance floor, showing off her moves. You couldn't help but smile when you would see her out there, lightening up the room with her infectious energy. Sandy was the type of person who could make you feel like the most interesting person in the room, simply by asking you 1,001 questions, even the people that she didn't even know. So, here's to Sandra. You were more than just a client to me. You were my friend. I will miss your fashionably late entrances, your endless desire for change, and your zest for life. And I can assure you and the entire staff at the Locksmith Hair Studio that Friday afternoons will never be the same again. Thank you.
And to all of those tributes and words, let us say amen. You've heard many, many stories about Sandra. Just to add a couple of other things. She had chutzpah. She was born here in Cleveland, January 16th, 1949. Her parents of blessed memory, Phyllis and Buddy. She was the middle child of 3, survived by her older brother Jeff, Linda, and younger sister Jackie. Family grew up here, University Heights, off Washington Boulevard. She went to Heights High School, graduated in about 1967. And Irv said, in high school, Sandy and I met at a Jewish frat kind of a gambling party. I went to Shaker, she went to Heights. We started dating. We were married at the theatrical restaurant. There would be no other place for her to be married. And that was on September 15th, 1979. I may have said this already, but Rabbi Rube did that service. Sandy and Irv shared a life of more than 44 years and were blessed with family, an extended family, and a son Todd and Chelsea, and then the grandsons, Henry, Grayson, and Remy. So speaking for the grandchildren, Grayson said, as we were sitting at the table, Grandma was always funny. She was always bossing Grandpa around like a butler. We ate popsicles and M&Ms. We watched Mickey Mouse on TV. For any of you that have children, and if you have grandchildren, it just doesn't get any better than that. It just doesn't get any better. She loved Starbucks as well as the other things. She never left the house without being dressed to the nines, makeup, rings, jewelry. Chelsea said she was a simple woman. She loved to shop. She loved to dance. She was a party girl. She was not a simple woman, but she was a simple woman. I mean, if those were the things, that was it. She was not afraid to share her opinions or her views on life. When you tried to encourage her not to eat something because it wasn't good for her, quote, "Don't you tell me what I can and can't eat." And one more quote, "I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it." And she did. And so at the beginning of the month, she was taking a shower, and she must have either gotten dizzy or something. She slipped. She fell in the shower. They took her to the hospital, and they did a run-through of all sorts of tests, and she appeared to be on the mend. And she was at Menora Park at the rehab, and then overnight, Friday night, Saturday morning, she breathed her last. And for those of us who have lost parents and lost siblings, we never know. We never know. So the opportunity to talk to your loved ones, you don't have to be paranoid about this, but, call your brother or your sister, your mom, your dad, or any of these people. Just call them and say, "Hi, I love you." Just call. Or stop by and see them if you can. And if you do, you should make sure to take M&Ms. Take them out of the refrigerator first. Take the M&Ms. Popsicles probably don't travel as well, but... So she breathed her last on Friday night, early Saturday morning. And it's a shock because she always had bounced back before this. However, now she's at peace and her soul is at peace. And just as Shabbat is a time of rest, so too for Sandra, too for Sandy, it's a time of rest and peace. Her soul is returning to God and to be with the souls of her dear loved ones, relatives, friends, and ancestors of our people. We learn this in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. One day all of us will join our loved ones in Olam Haba, the world to come. It's a spiritual existence, not a physical existence. So all of our souls will be together. She might be calling in right now. So it's a spiritual existence, not a physical existence. But Judaism teaches we'll be together with our loved ones again, our souls together in Olam Haba. We have sent along an old Chumash, an old prayer book with her, and a Passover Haggadah, because not only is it a mitzvah to escort the body of your loved one to its final resting place, but also holy books of our tradition. So we're providing respectful burial for those as well. We're sending along a Passover Haggadah in particular because Pesach is the time when we recall and we give thanks for our ancient liberation from Egyptian slavery. We are free today, and we are here today because of God's deliverance of our people so many, many, many years ago. And now Sandy has been liberated from any sort of pain or illness or deterioration. Your memories are filled to overflowing, and we give thanks to God for this gift of life. We would have hoped for more years, many more years. And even in our sadness, we are grateful for the time we were blessed with. And as you think of her, you should do things that she would have enjoyed doing with you, things that would make her proud of you. Don't be shy to get out and do some dancing on the dance floor. Learn to knit. Knitting is a beautiful way to make things for your loved ones. there are many, many other thoughts and many, many other memories, and do these things in her loving memory. And so we conclude with a verse from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, yihi shem Adonai mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, yimru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Sandra Goldstein, our dear Sandy. Let us say Amen. Please rise for El Maleh Rachamim. And after the El Maleh Rachamim prayer, we will go in procession to Beit Olam Cemetery. And then the family is meeting at Irv's, 38230 Chagrin Boulevard, today until 6 and tomorrow from 12 to 6. If you cannot make it to the cemetery with us now, when we leave, we'll probably be at Irv's in about an hour and 15 minutes from now. And we'll say Kaddish for her for the whole month, and the kids in religious school will say Kaddish, and the kids in Hebrew school will say Kaddish. For Sandy, she's going to get Kaddishes for a whole month, a lot of them. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of our dear Sandra Goldstein, for you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us so we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kizohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Sandy Goldstein, Shahalach Olama, Ba'al Harachamim, Yastireha B'Seit Knafav Le'olamim, Vayitzro B'Sor HaChaim, Et Nishmata, Adonai Hurachalata, V'tanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkava, V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our dear Sandra Goldstein. She has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. The funeral directors will come forward and give us directions to go in procession to Beit Olam Cemetery.
Nice to meet you. I've never met you. You two together, got some hot kids. And it's not surprising. He was always one of the better looking guys.